nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. ancientdefense.com.
Welcome to the Alex Jones Radio Show. I'm David Knight, here live on Tuesday, April the 21st, 2015. We have a report that came out yesterday, an article that asked the question, is Jeb Bush going to Bilderberg in 2015? It's a good question because his campaign announced that he's going to the general area at about the same time that the Bilderberg Convention is going to be held this year, the meeting. And as we pointed out in the article, INFOWARS correctly predicted in 2007 that Texas Governor Rick Perry would run for president in 2012 after going to the Bilderberg Conference in Istanbul, Turkey. It's also reported that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton disappeared off of their schedules mysteriously for a couple of days while the Bilderberg Conference was going on in Northern Virginia. So it's kind of interesting to see that his schedule coincides with that. So we just asked that question. It's a very secretive organization. They don't really talk about what goes on too much there, especially if it's certain political figures. They don't talk about who comes there. They do release now a list of attendees. They pretended for a very long time that it didn't exist. And so did the press. But now, in response to this article, we had a reporter at Bloomberg, Dave Weigel, says, whoa, if true, that's his series there, Jeb Bush, Bilderberg, and the Secret Rulers of the World. A very sarcastic article. Talks a lot about us being right-wingers, that we believe there's reptilians, there's ever-spurting founts of Bilderberger panic that are coming from our radio show. No, you know what? They denied that it existed for decades. They didn't cover it for decades. Jim Tucker talked about the fact that it was very strange that you could have the most powerful people in politics, in the military, and corporations all meeting together in secret, no oversight, no press coverage. Isn't that interesting that that would happen for decades and it would not be covered? And they would laugh if you even suggested that it existed just about 20 years ago. Even if you suggested that Bilderberg existed, you were a ridiculous conspiracy theorist. Well, what happened in this story was he tweeted our story, and he tweeted it to Jeb Bush's campaign. And he said, Tim Miller quickly saw the tweet and responded. And he said, no. And I guess that just settles it. So maybe we could settle what's going on with Walmart by asking them why they closed 5 stores suddenly. I guess they could give us a one-word response, plumbing, and it would be done, no matter how ridiculous. We've got a special report. Alex called in from the road with a special report about this Bilderberg. Let's go to Alex Jones right now.
That's right, David. I'm coming to you via cell phone out here working on a story that we'll be breaking in the next few days, shooting some important videos. Appreciate you doing a great job with the broadcast. How am I coming through to you?
Come through good.
Okay, fantastic. I call things Rosetta Stones, or basically decoder rings. And this story in Bloomberg opens a whole window into how they control people. As you said, how they said Bilderberg didn't exist all these years. Now they have to admit it. But larger than that, we're not saying Bilderberg is even the only top of the pyramid. It's just one spot where this shadow government global corporate system shows itself, and the victory of the new media in the last 20 years, especially forcing it out in the open, where there's a huge media feeding frenzy every year when it takes place. I'm sending Paul Watson to Austria. I may go myself, or I may send you or someone else. I got to make that decision in the next week or two. We sent you to Copenhagen, Denmark last year, obviously. But when you read the article and they say, well, it's all settled. There are no secret groups making decisions. There are no secret elites influencing politicians. Everyone knows that powerful interests in secret groups meet in smoky rooms for hundreds of years, well, for thousands of years, but 500 years since tobacco was imported to Europe as cigars. So we know all of this goes on. We know it's happening. And here's Bloomberg in the same packaging lecturing to us, David, how, oh, ha, 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 it exists, but Jeb Bush has said he's not going, so there's your answer. There's no secret stuff going on. They imply that Hillary and Obama weren't at Bilderberg. I watched the Secret Service drive by as they pointed MP5 submachine guns at us. It's on video in Obama deception. I watched as all of this unfolded. He disappeared. They put the press corps on an airplane and flew it to Chicago. He was there. Hillary then stepped down 2 days after and announced that she wasn't going to run anymore. They were both there. That even later came out in some of the European press. So we're doing the media's real job. We're not idiots getting shanghaied on an airplane being told that Clinton and Obama are going to Chicago, and they all get on the plane, on the Obama plane, and they close the door, and Gibbs gets up and says, well, he had a wish to be alone, so we put you on the plane and basically kidnapped you.
Bilderberg always insists on a media blackout. By June of 2008, we had already figured out that Barack Obama was the elite's puppet of choice. The national media claimed that during the weekend the Bilderberg group was scheduled to meet, that Obama had speaking engagements set for Chicago and the Midwest. We knew better. In a classic bait and switch, the Obama campaign told the press corps to get on Obama's campaign plane, and that Obama would join them on the flight to Chicago. Campaign staff then slammed the door shut. The fawning press had been shanghaied as Obama's campaign aircraft lifted off without Obama.
Robert, why were we not told about this meeting and that the senator wouldn't be on our flight until the doors were shut and we were about to taxi to take off?
Again, we had a desire. Senator Obama had a desire to do some meetings. Others had a desire to meet with him tonight in a private way, and that's what we're doing. We set up these meetings. They're being done tonight. Again,
Is there more than one meeting? Is there more than one person with whom you...
I'm not going to get into all the details of the meetings. I don't know that I've got a ton more different answers for all of your questions.
Obama wasn't going to Chicago. He had a meeting to attend, a secret meeting.
Initially, it was believed that the secret meeting took place at Clinton's Washington, D.C. home. Obama's spokesman denied that, but won't confirm where the former rivals met. He also declined to comment on their topics of discussion.
For a day and a half, the mainstream media engaged in a wild goose chase, trying to find out where Hillary and Obama had gone. 3 cover stories later, the corporate press had to admit they had no idea where the 2 candidates had gone. And to this day, Clinton and Obama aren't talking.
Plenty of sources knew about this meeting, told us and others that it was at Hillary Clinton's house, but clearly it wasn't.
In 2008, the trail led us to the Westfield's Marriott Hotel, right outside Washington, D.C.
Hillary, back in the 90s, going to the Bilderberg meeting, was fined several $100,000 for violating the Logan Act. Okay, Rick Perry went. When I was 2 years ago in England, north of London, covering Bilderberg with 3,000 plus demonstrators, a helicopter, came in with world leaders, and the prime minister drove in, in an armored motorcade. This is all on video. So they sit there and act like this isn't happening. The truth is, Bilderberg's now gone public because they couldn't hide it. Davos is now their public front. The International Bank of Settlements and other groups are all chaired by the same people, just like this Pacific Partnership trade deal secret, just like the takeover of the internet was secret. It's all secret, and they sit here and lecture us like we're children. It doesn't work anymore. But you read that article, it's just crazy. But here's the good news. Somebody like Jeb Bush, major power broker, one of the 2 major crime families that share the crown of power, that share the ring of power, here they are having to respond to something that they said didn't exist before. So it's just crazy. Clinton, a little-known governor, 1991, goes to Bilderberg. 2 years later, he's president. I could go on and on. Tony Blair, little-known member of parliament, goes to Bilderberg. 3 years later, he's prime minister. I could go on for day after day mentioning all the major deals. We have been given secret papers from the 60s when I was at Bilderberg a few years ago in Virginia by a federal archivist that was Bilderberg taking over the unions in the 60s to actually destroy labor and all this stuff. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fact. We're exposing the shadow oligarchy that controls things. They don't like it, and it's just important that we put an article out countering them and showing all the places that the major power brokering goes on, that we do a piece on the Nightly News showing the clips from Obama deception, where Gibbs has them all basically hijacked. Shanghai would be the proper word. It's simply amazing that we've gotten to this point, and we're having victories. And so now all they can do is make fun of us and make jokes and imply that we're insane. It doesn't work. That's why their ratings go down, our ratings go up. It's why we need people's support and prayers, because the enemy, we are literally in probably 15 to 20 major publications today, sometimes hundreds. We're attacked on CNN, MSNBC, by the White House, Media Matters, now on a weekly basis. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not fun to say this, but it's true. We are now, when it comes to fighting tyranny, at the very tip of the spear. Thanks to your support and prayers, I've prayed to God to help put us in a position to fight the New World Order. God has granted those prayers. But now that we've prayed that David be put up against Goliath on the field, now we have to pray that we be given the skill and discernment to make sure these rocks hit the enemy right between the eyes politically. So this is a big deal, folks. We are now openly in contention to really expose large sectors of the globalist operation. And I'll end with this. Remember 2 years ago when the military, through INFOWARS.com, the non-commissioned officers, but also officers by the thousands, put out images saying, I won't fight overseas for Al-Qaeda. I won't be part of this. I won't go into Syria. Then the head of the Joint Chiefs had to go and tell Obama they couldn't launch that operation. That's the type of thing where InfoWar, where truth, where David against Goliath can absolutely expose these incredible evils that are going on. And it's the same thing with the situation with the Bilderberg. So great job, David Knight and crew. I know Leanne McAdoo's coming up live in studio. I know you've also got a state rep on who's leading the fight all over the country to repeal asset forfeiture seizure laws. So we're on the march. The empire's on the run. Thank you so much, David Knight.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, you mentioned that rep that we're going to have. That's Kendall Croker from Wyoming. Of course, there was a civil asset forfeiture bill that would rein in that process in Wyoming that was passed in both houses. It was vetoed by the governor. Some Republicans changed their position. But Kendall Croker was very outspoken on that. He talked about all the different aspects of the Bill of Rights that civil asset forfeiture destroys. And so we're going to have him on in the second hour. We're going to talk to him also about other efforts that are going on there as well as in other states to essentially establish our rights to due process, to say that you're not going to have property taken away from you unless you're actually charged and convicted with a crime. Imagine that. Imagine that they wouldn't give you excessive fines. Wouldn't that be interesting to live in an America like that?
Hey, I want to share a quick video with you. This was just released recently, and this happened in Southgate, California. This is out there in the LA suburbs. And a woman was attacked by a thug cop for, well, you probably guessed it, for recording the police. Now, you can see right there in the video that this woman verbally told the police officer that she has every right as an American citizen to film the police. And she's absolutely right. But, you know, it doesn't matter anymore because most of the police in this country, they no longer serve us, all right? They serve the state. And this guy, I mean, he disgracefully smashed her cell phone to the ground after he charged her and he grabbed it out of her hands, and then he smashed it. And then he kicked it like a spoiled child who's angry at a video game. I mean, this video highlights the attitude police generally have to those of us out there who record them. And of course, they don't mind recording us, right? I mean, they have cameras in their dash cams. They have cameras on most every street corner, surveillance cameras on the rooftops of buildings. And now they even have facial recognition software on surveillance drones. So they can record us, but I guess we're not supposed to record them. By the way, these cops showed up in what looks like an upscale neighborhood, and they showed up in unmarked cars with assault rifles. She had every right to film them. And if you agree, well, I think you should tell them about it. The contact information is on your screen right now. Please be polite. But by all means, tell the U.S. Marshals that this is not acceptable under any circumstances. We all have the right to film the police, and we will continue to do just that. Hey, guys, we just got breaking news. It looks like the head of the DEA has resigned in the wake of the agency's sex scandal. But here's what they are not telling you about the DEA.
Rob Dew here with some breaking news from INFOWARS.com and INFOWARS Nightly News. It has just come out that DEA Administrative Head Michelle Lionheart is going to resign amid the sex party scandal that just came out, and they had congressional hearings about it. And I am no fan of the DEA head. I'm no fan of the DEA. In fact, the DEA head has said some moronic things like this in the past.